Here's my full review of Splice sounds. I've been using Splice sounds for years, and it's now a massive staple in my production. So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly what Splice sounds is, the incredible features behind it, and how it can be unbelievably useful in your productions. So here is Splice sounds. This is the GUI of the graphical user interface of the site. Here's how it's all laid out. Now, in case you don't know, starting from scratch, all a Splice sounds is a collection of royalty-free samples. What that means is you can download any of these samples, so I'll just type in kick. So these are all different kick samples. So not only can I download these and use it in my music, but I have all the rights to it. I feel like I want to start there because I feel like that's a very underrated thing when it comes to Splice sounds, is a lot of times people think, oh wow, it's so easy to find a kick, right? I have, almost, I think they say up here, over 100,000 different kicks. And I think a lot of times people think, oh, that's amazing that I have so many different kick options. But the better part of this is you have all the rights to it. You don't have to worry about some type of business issue or some copyright issue or whatever. And for a kick, it's a little bit different. But let's say I want to use like a vocal sample, for example. Let's say I want to use vocals in my track, and I'm just going to play some of these now. Let's say I want to use, I don't know, let's say if I have something here. So let's say this one, right? Now, let's say if you want to find that on YouTube or somewhere random online, you put it in your song, there is always a possibility that someone could go after you saying, hey, I noticed you actually took this vocal sample or this violin sample or this, any sample. I have the rights to that. I made it. I want you to remove it from your song, or I want your song taken down. That's a massive issue. And the amazing thing with Splice Sounds is you can download any sample from this entire database and not worry about any copyright issues, any infringement, because you have 100% the rights to it. I want to start there because that's so massive. I think a lot of musicians overlook. And for me, being a former accountant, knowing a lot about business, that's honestly the number one thing I love about Splice Sounds. Now, going to the actual samples and the database and the library, Splice is just incredible because let's say I'm doing a song and I'm doing a song that's a bit of a jazz song, right? And I used to play saxophone. So let's say I'm like, you know what? I want a saxophone. So I'm going to search saxophone, right? And this what's cool about it is there's literally millions upon millions of samples in their database. I can also filter within these samples. So I type in saxophone, I'm like, all right, let's say I want a saxophone sample, but I'm doing, like, say, a house record. So house is typically anywhere between maybe like 124 and 130 BPM, depending on what type of house it is. So I just type in like 128, right? So let's say I'm going to do 128 BPM to 130, right? Like, so I'm doing a house record, I'll just do like big room house or electro house or whatever. That means now all the saxophone samples I'm seeing are between that. So now I can use any of these, right? In addition, I can also organize by key. So let's say I'll just kind of mix it up again. Let's say I want to use vocals, for example. And let's say I'm like, all right, I need vocals, but they have to be in G minor. G minor is my key. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to key, hit G. Boom, I actually now have all vocals that are in G. To be more specific, we're going to do G minor. These are all different samples that are in G minor. Now, granted, you can always transpose it. Like, let's say if I find a really, really good vocal sample, but it's in A minor, obviously I can just pitch it down 2 half steps or 1 full step. But in this case, it just makes it super, super easy and convenient to do so. You also have these subcategories. So let's say I'm like, all right, I want a vocal, but because I actually produce a lot of moombahton, reggaeton, a lot of world music, let's say I want it to be in Spanish. Boom, I click Spanish, and now I have Spanish vocals in G minor. This is what's so amazing about Splice, is it allows you to get super specific. Every producer's been there, especially before Splice, where you dig for sometimes hours, I guess, to find that right kick drum, that right vocal sample, that right, I don't know, just element that you really want to put into your track. It took so long in terms of the digging. Now, it's just super easy. If I need let's say I want a synth lead. I mean, typically I like making my own leads, but let's say I want a synth lead. Boom, I go to synth. So not only can I organize by this and click leads, for example, but I can go to genres. So let's say I'm like, all right, you know what? I want this to be, I don't know. I know I was talking about electro before. Let's do trance. Let's say I want to make a trance record. More of like a bass sound, right? But now I can kind of click around here. Now, you may see packs here. I've not really talked about this yet. It's becoming more and more popular on Splice where people will release packs or even artist-themed packs. What that means is an artist or anybody will release a pack that's related to one theme. So if I go to Oliver, and I love this pack, Oliver has released this pack, and these are basically all funk, new wave, and synth-tastic vibes, as they call it. All these samples are within the same pack, and it's amazing. They've had everybody from Cashmere to Oliver to Whipped Cream to Jinko to Henry Fong to Drezzo to Glitch Mob. The list goes on and on. And now artists are making their own custom themed packs. So let's say going to Jinko, because I love his music. If I go to Jinko, he has the Cinema Trap and the Cinema Trap Volume 2, and he makes cinematic style trap music. That's his niche, obviously hence the name. So he has all these kind of cool samples. In addition, you may have noticed, and I'm just showing you all the amazing features of Splice Sounds, it's not just sounds. In terms of samples, you can also get presets. And I've noticed presets have gotten a lot more popular on Splice over the years, especially now in 2021. There are now people who release packs, like I showed you, but they're only presets. So let's say you want to have dubstep. You know, I just searched dubstep, but you want to get these presets for Serum or for Massive or for Silent or whatever. I can now go down here and I'm just going to play these. So now I can download these presets, bring them into Serum or Massive or any other VST or any other synth, and now I have all these unique little presets where I can create my own melodies. I can customize a preset a lot more. It's unbelievable. So going into a couple more features of Splice Sounds, you can do likes, which is cool, or like say you like a sample as it sounds, you can hit that kind of heart button and have this in your database. You also have access to all your previous downloads. It's actually a lot more useful than most people talk about, and I think the reason why is it's so convenient. So let's say if your hard drive crashes and you're like, shoot, I was just about to be done with the song, and let's say somehow, luckily, you saved the project file, but not that vocal sample, or not that whatever sample, you can go right back into here and re-download it. It's almost like a free online storage system for all of your samples. And this is super useful too, because as opposed to me leaving my Vengeance pack on my hard drive forever, if let's say I downloaded 30 kicks, but I only used one of them, I just delete them all after I'm done. And let's say if I want to re-listen to some of them, I just go back to my download section. And one last amazing thing about downloads is anytime you re-download a sample that you've already downloaded, it's only 0 credits, which leads me now into the pricing of Splice. So let's go to upgrade. So Splice has a really cool kind of pricing model. Essentially, it's $8 a month for 100 credits. So this is a subscription service. You pay $8 a month every month. So like 1 or 2 drinks at the bar, I guess depending on where you are. Here in LA, that might be like half a drink. But besides the point, it's $8 a month for 100 credits. Any single time you download a sample, that's 1 credit. And it's kind of weird how they do this, but I get it, where if you download one hi-hat sample, that's 1 credit. But let's say I download this minute-long vocal sample, that's also 1 credit. And they roll over. So let's say if 1 month you have 100, but you only use 20 of those credits. So you have 80. The next month, you'll have 180. I feel like $8 a month, being honest, is super affordable, especially what you get through Splice. This has honestly completely changed the game for me when it comes to production, and it is now a vital part of my toolkit when making music.